A very good afternoon to all of you. I would like to give you a warm welcome for this another session. I'm pretty sure last session we had some technical difficulties, but whatever information we have shared, it was useful information for all of you. Today, as we have been promoting, we will be talking about buying process, especially keeping in mind this COVID-19 situation, what exactly has been happening today in the market, that there's a lot of excitement among all the buyers. Second major impact is the lower rate of interest, which is really keeping the market on a strong footing. Before we go on to our topics, I would like to talk about being a follower or being a leader. This is a very big challenge of life. So many times we live the life the way we have been trained. Now, I was trying to analyze the situation why majority of people they become a follower in their life. It all depends upon our upbringing. When we are born, we get instruction to become a follower. Knowingly or unknowingly, it keeps hammering on our mind. The first instruction which we get is follow the nurse or the doctor. Then we get the instruction when we become toddler, follow your twice. Then we become the instruction, follow your elder brother or sister. On top of it, once we get into school, we have to follow all our teachers, school system. Then we have to follow society, culture, constitution, administration, lines, this and that. Follow what your parents are teaching you. So somehow our mind gets conditioning to become a follower. So if we are trained to become a follower, how can we become leader? That is very, very important. To become leader, we need to make sure that we should learn how to break the rules of life. Guys, when I say rules, that doesn't mean we should break law. We have to be very respectful and follow the law, because that's a very good social structure on which we make sure not only our own life but the other lives is taken care. So we need to break the rules of life. That will help you to become a good leader. If you don't break the rules what have been taught, then for whole life we might keep living like a follower. And this is what I do to be successful. I believe in breaking the rules of life. I always think a little bit different than a common man. I have trained my brain to think in different direction so that I don't become a follower. If you want to become a leader, you have to make sure break the rules but don't break the law. Now today we will talk about our topic. We will discuss a little bit more in details. But before that, guys, I would like to update you about what have been happening in SaveMax system. As you know, we are called as a disruptor to the market. People call us game changer because every time we bring a new system in real estate industry. Same thing happened when I launched that 999 model. Of course, at that time, there was a lot of opposition, not only by our realtor friends, but by some others who were related or somewhere connected with the real estate profession. But it was very well accepted by majority of the public clients, And that is the reason why after 10 years, we have built up a brand which is doing almost $1 billion sales volume every year. Now, we want to make sure that the name tag which we have been assigned, the game changer, we become true to that name tag in the industry. So SaveMax is bringing a very dynamic model which is based on three pillars. The first pillar is a passive income. So we have created a passive income for our team members. The second basic pillar of that model is going to be your pension income. You all understand that one day we have to live a retiree life. So we have come up with an idea where we will be your partner, will be your associate in your retired life. And third most important thing, which is the fact of life that everybody has to die. So the third pillar of our model is life insurance. It is not that we are giving you any life insurance policy, but we have created the model like that, where we take care of your family even after somebody dies. So those three pillars: passive income, the second one is your pension, and the third one is your life insurance. So our new model is definitely going to create a lot of noise out there into the industry. If you want to get more information about this, you can definitely get in touch with SaveMax team members or our team leaders, and you will be really surprised what idea we have come up during this COVID-19. Now, you might be thinking this is something new we are doing to the industry. This is not something new which we are doing. We are working on that model internally in SaveMax system from last 4 years. So now is the right time where we have to present this model in the market so that more and more people can get benefit out of it. So I will again re-emphasize on three pillars of this new model. One is your passive income. One is your, I would say, pension plan or retirement plan. And the third one is your life insurance, which is going to be implemented after your death. So to get more information about this, of course, I would strongly encourage you to get in touch with our team leaders or our team members, and they will share all the details about this wonderful model which we are presenting it in the industry. So let's talk about today's session. I would strongly request all of you, you can start hosting a Facebook watch party, and please don't hesitate to ask your question. Once we are done with the presentation, I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions related to this presentation or any other question about the real estate industry. Of course, as always, we will be giving a $50 gift voucher for today's best question. And once again, my colleague, COO of SaveMax Group of Companies, Mr. Sachin Gupta, will have the exclusive right to make the decision about the best question. So guys, don't wait until last minute. Please start sending your questions on your Facebook page or YouTube, wherever you are watching. If by any chance you realize that your question has been missed, you can text me your question on my cell phone as well, which is 647-225-5780. I repeat, 647-225-5780. Now let's start the topic, buying process, especially during COVID-19. It's very important to understand how the buying process works. So at this point of time, there are certain types of buyer which are out there into the market. Let's first talk about first-time buyers, which you all understand. There's a lot of first-time buyer which are there in the market, and they want to take an advantage of today's situation because there are two factors. One is the rate of interest are very low. And the second one is because of COVID-19, sellers are really settled down on the ground level and market has become balanced. So that's a very good time for first time buyers to enter into the market. The second type of buyers are when somebody wants to upgrade their house or downgrade their house. So let's say you are living in a condominium and you want to buy a semi-detached or a detached house, or you are living in a small detached house and you want to buy a bigger house. Or sometime because of certain challenges of life or some unfortunate situations, or maybe to live a retirement life, we go for the downgrading of the house too. Now, the third type of buyer which are out there into the markets, which normally are not in the same category, but still they are buyers, we call them investors. Now, are you ready to buy a home? That's an important question which we have to understand. First of all, before buying your house, what you have to do, you have to examine your financial situation. So defining the goal is very, very important when you're planning to buy something either as a first time buyer or as an upgrade or downgrade. Now, budget, I always say, is the first and foremost concern which you should have. Estimate how much you can afford in a home. Define your budget based on your current income. And of course, the most important aspect, don't forget to get the spousal consent. Very, very important. Now, there I would give you a note of caution. As per the Canadian system, your housing cost, when I say housing cost, I mean to say your principal and interest and your heating cost should not exceed 32% of your gross income. This is what Canadian system says. But depending upon your situation, let's say if you have a lot of cash equity or you have some investment properties, you can really look into going a little bit above that as well. But again, that's a unique situation. I'm giving you a standardized formula that your income and your principal and interest payment approximately 32%. Plan your budget. Debt to income ratio. So when I say debt to income ratio, I'm talking about all the debts, including your mortgage, including your credit card debts, or is there any line of credit debts or any other loan which you have to pay, should be maximum 40% of your income. This is what a standard formula in the Canadian system. Now, let me just give you a little bit idea about what is GDS and TDS. When we say GDS and TDS, it is gross debt service ratio and total debt service ratio. So when we say gross debt service ratio, that includes your principal plus interest plus taxes plus heat as well, because heat we consider as an essential in the house, and divided by your gross income. This should not exceed more than 32%. And then TDS, which includes your other debts plus all the GDS, this should not exceed more than 40%. So that's a thumb rule which you can apply when buying a property. Now comes the another important thing. Before you start looking for a property, you have to get a pre-approval. I have seen that situation so many times. People start looking at property, but they have no pre-approval in their hand. So what exactly happens in that particular case? If you don't have a pre-approval, then it becomes a challenge. What you have to do for the pre-approval? First of all, on any mortgage approval or a pre-approval, good credit history is very, very important, because that will help you to go to a national bank as well as to get the good rate of interest. Unfortunately, if you don't have a good credit history, you might have to go for a B lender or a private mortgage where rate of interest might be higher, conditions might be stringent, and of course, you would not love to have that situation. Another thing is you have to gather all the required documentation. When I say documentation, you need to have your credit history. I would strongly recommend and encourage everybody, before you apply for a mortgage, go to Equifax and pull your own credit report. That will give you a good idea where you stand. Because if you keep going to mortgage broker and banks, and if they keep pulling your credit, that might bring your credit down. And another aspect of mortgage approval is that you have to have a strong job history. Most of the time, banks, what they look, that you should have a permanent job. It should not be a probation period, or it should not be a part-time job. So if you have a job with a good established history where you are working from last 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the same company, that really makes your file very strong. And then you need proof of income stability as well. So bank might come and ask you for your pay stubs, your job letter, your salary deposit stubs from the bank. And many times bank, they ask for T4 as well as your notice of assessment as well, in case either you are getting some commission income or you are self-employed. Some note of cautions when you are going through this buying process: hold off on any other major purchase. Don't apply for a new credit, or don't quit or change your job. This will help you to get a hassle-free mortgage. So there are few factors which you have to consider when you have to apply for a mortgage: a good credit history, a good job. I think there was some technical issue one more time. We made sure it should not be a technical issue today, but I think we again had some technical problems. This is the beautiful part of technology. Can somebody send me a text message ensuring that we are back live? Check now. Give me 1 second. Can somebody send me a text message or WhatsApp message? Gurmeet, can you please send me the message now if everything is all good? I think we are back. So expert real estate knowledge is very, very important when you have to look for an agent in the area. Of course, you can check agents review as well, but sometimes that is not the clear depiction. As I understand, we are in the real estate industry. It's an service industry. You get every kind of clients, and there are few people you can never ever make them satisfied. In today's world, it is very, very important that your agent is good, tech savvy person, because technology is going to be the next world when it comes to real estate transaction. Just imagine all the real estate transaction, everything happens on MLS.ca. Nowadays, there's a lot of virtual viewings happening. On top of it, there are e-signing and other technological advances which is coming in real estate industry. If your agent is not tech savvy, he or she will not be able to gather the right information. Agent's job is not only go and show you the properties and write the offer. There are so many things which we have to do as your trusted realtor to ensure that we are doing this transaction with the proper safety, procedure, knowledge, information. Asking the right question from your agent is very, very important. Of course, you can always make a list of any concerns, any doubts which you have in your mind regarding the buying process. If you find your agent is not knowledgeable enough, or he's not confident enough and give you right logical answers to your questions, please refrain yourself hiring that agent. Now, one more thing which I always emphasize: knowledge, technology, right attitude, all that stuff is very important. But then the most important factor which comes before hiring an agent is honesty. Look for passion, look for conviction. If you don't get connected to with that particular individual, it is not going to be a smooth journey for you. So always rely on your gut feeling about the realtor which you are hiring. Very big note of caution. I'll give you a very important tip which might save you a couple of $1,000, not couple of $1,000, maybe sometime $100,000. Never choose your agent based on cashback incentive being offered. Always choose based on market knowledge and experience. Why I say that? Think about it. You are planning to buy something which is one of the biggest decision of your life. Maybe $500,000, maybe $1,000,000. And you are choosing an agent based on $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. If that particular agent is not able to protect his earnings, do you think he will be able to do a justifiable job when it comes to doing the negotiation on your behalf for that $500,000 or maybe $1,000,000 home? You want to hire somebody who does not have the capability to secure his commission, and you want to give him the authority to make the decision on your behalf. I think you need to think not once, not twice, not thrice, multiple times before hiring the agent who offers you the cashback. Because I'm in the industry for almost more than a decade, sold more than 6,000 houses. Many times that situation happens. But I always proudly say, as your agent, I will ensure you will get the best bargain, you will get the best property, and more than that, you will get the satisfaction of your life from us. And I think that is very, very important for all of us to understand. Now, I can actually have a complete session on this point, which we call as a buyer representation. But today we will just go in brief about this particular point. And I would like to get a lot many questions from my viewers today. I'm willing to sit here for another hour to answer about the question, any questions about the buyer representation agreement, because I hear a lot of stories. I get a lot of feedback, not only from realtors, but from prospective buyers as well. So many times buyers, they don't want to sign the buyer representation agreement. I'll just give you a brief why it is important to sign a buyer representation agreement. First of all, by signing the buyer representation agreement, you become a bona fide client of that particular realtor. Now, buyer representation agreement, which I will in short say BRS, define the relationship between you and the real estate brokerage working on your behalf. If you sign BRS, it assures your best efforts by your realtor. That is an assurance in writing. Also, it gives an exposure to every eligible property, because once you sign a buyer representation agreement, it becomes the obligation of that particular agent to show you all the properties which fits into your criteria of buying. And the most important, it creates obligation for your real estate agent to keep your best interest in mind when showing you homes or negotiating with the seller. Many times, as a buyer, we don't understand the importance of signing a buyer representation, and we think we're gonna save some commission by not including an agent from our side. Yes, superficially, you might be right. You might think you saved some money by hiring an agent, but unfortunately, you ignored the money, the information, the protection of rights which you could have acquired by hiring a right real estate agent. And when I say hiring, it really doesn't matter too much for you, because at the end of the day, you will not be paying any real estate commission when you are buying a property. And I'm pretty sure majority of our buyers, they are aware about this particular rule of real estate industry. As a buyer agent, we don't charge any commission from our agents, from our buyers. The commission is being paid by seller. Yes, you might come up with another question onto that, that in any way it is going from your pocket. I respectfully don't agree onto that point with anybody. The simple reason behind that is, if you hired a good agent, trust me, you will find that particular individual worth more than what he has been paid, because he's going to save you multiple times. He's going to protect your interest in any adverse situation, and he will be working in your best interest. So please make sure, guys, you should go and ask a question from your agents. What is this buyer representation agreement? See how they explain that to you, how confident they are when they are asking you to sign the buyer representation agreement. And then you will see the outcome of your transaction. And another benefit what you get when signing a BRS with an agent, that agent will never ever pressurize you to buy the property, because he or she knows that you are his or her clients. It doesn't matter either you see 5 houses, 10 houses, 20 houses, he is secure, he is safe. I always try to compare this situation when any clients, they ask me, why should we sign a buyer representation agreement? I answer this question by asking another question from them. How would you feel if I ask you to work for me for 30 days and I don't give you a surety that you will be paid for that time period? Of course, you would not happily do that particular job. Same is the case with the realtor, guys. If they know they will not be paid for the job, they're not going to put their best efforts. But my job is to give you the right information. Of course, I leave the decision on to you. Find your ideal home. That's another important thing. I know as a first-time buyer, because I have a lot of experience and I really enjoy working with first-time buyers, you have two feelings. One is excitement and another one is a little bit fear, which is very well understandable. Finding your ideal home is an important aspect of the buying process. First of all, as I explained you, make a list of priorities and try to stick to your budget. Research and find homes on your own, as well as don't entirely depend upon the realtor too. So sometimes it is a good idea to do a little bit research of your own. But if you have really hired a good agent, I think you might not need to put that much efforts of your own. And this is what the beauty of this particular profession. During every showing, make sure to take down your own notes. Don't look at too many houses at one time, because that will create a lot of confusion to you. Try to spend 30 minutes to 60 minutes in that particular property. Ask as many questions as you can from your realtor and try to gather the right information about the property which you like. Then you can discuss the best mix of two homes and option with your realtor. Because majority of the time what happens is, when you are seeing the properties, you like the kitchen of one house, you like the living room of other house, you like the dining room of other house, you like the master bedroom of one another home. So sometimes it is a combination of so many properties, and you want to connect those bits and pieces to get your ideal property. It happens. But once you know what you're looking for, don't try to run here and there. The more properties you see, the better confused you are. The next point is about not only about first time buyer, but majority of the case on first time buyers, I always advise them, don't keep waiting to fulfill your wish list by 100%. That never happens. Even if you have a budget of $5 million, you will find one thing or the another which is not according to your wish lists. More than 95% wish list is an ideal number what you can look for while buying a property. So be open to do a little bit compromise to your wish list, especially when you are a first time buyer. Now, once you like the property, now the time comes when you have to submit an offer. Include the condition of financing and inspection, which I'm pretty sure your realtor is going to guide you. Check description about fixtures and appliances. Understand everything you are signing. That is very, very important. Get bank draft ready for the deposit. So this is another point which I want to emphasize. When you are buying a property, you might have to give some deposit at that time once your offer is accepted. And majority of the times, the time for that deposit is 24 hours. Sometimes we get an exceptions for 48 to 72 hours as well. But normally it is 24 hours. Once you have your bank draft ready, this money goes into your down payment and it gets adjusted by your lawyer at the time of closing. So don't think you are just giving this money without any reason. This is a token money which you are giving in good faith to seller once the offer gets accepted. And another important part of buying process is home inspection. Very, very important, guys. Try to keep yourself free for at least 2 to 3 hours for that home inspection. And please be there, especially when you're first time buyer. It is very important for you to understand, to know the house, to check all the equipments over there, furnace, air conditioner, appliances, as well as electrical, plumbing, insulation. Ask as many questions as you want from your inspector. The more you know about the property, the better it will be for you for the future. Once your mortgage is done, your inspection is done, then comes the time your deal gets firm. So most of the time, that is what, it is not the law, it is not the rule, but it is a norm in the industry that you get 5 days, 5 business days for financing and inspection. Sometimes that might be more, sometimes that might be less, especially when it's a multiple offer situation. Sometimes you are putting a firm offer as well. But it's a norm in the industry that 5 days for financing and inspection is very reasonable. Once your deal gets firm, so many times buyers, they don't know that they have to hire a lawyer as well. Of course, you can ask your realtor for some recommendation, and majority of the time your realtor will recommend you 2 or 3 lawyers. You can talk to them and understand the process of buying a little bit on phone or by arranging a one-to-one meeting with the lawyer. Keep one thing in your mind: with your down payment, depending upon how much money you are putting into that down payment, we will have some separate session on the mortgage part of it where we will discuss a little bit more about the down payment and everything. You have to arrange funds for closing cost as well, which most of the time is approximately 2%, but I always go a little bit higher. And that's why I put 2.5% over here so that you are comfortable at the time of closing. Now, these closing costs will include your land transfer tax, your title search, title insurance, your appraisal fees, your lawyer fees. Sometimes there are tax adjustment and the property insurance as well. So that 2.5% of the purchase price will cover majority of your expenses at the time of closing. But this does not apply in Toronto area because Toronto has almost double the land transfer tax as compared to other cities in the surrounding. So to explain this a little bit more, let's say if you're buying something for 500,000 and you're making 20% down payment, which is 100,000, you should be ready with another $12,500 as your closing costs. Of course, as a first time buyer, you get benefited on your land transfer tax, which today it's almost $4,000. But if you're a second or third time buyer, you don't get that exemption. So that is why I just put a standard figure over there, which I said is 2.5%. I got some feedback today about the video. The headlines is the same as of last week. I sincerely apologize for that. Today's topic is we are talking about buyers, and I think this has been left by mistake. But our today's topic is about the buying process. Once everything is done, your property is firm, you are waiting for the day, the most excitement to hold the keys of that property. But what you have to do is you have to do a pre-closing inspection, because most of the time what happens is the day you buy the property and the day you get the possession, majority of the time there's a gap. Sometime it's 60 days, sometime in 90 days. You want to make sure that the property is being kept in the same condition as you saw when you were buying it. So it is very, very important to book a pre-closing visit, which most of the time in 1 to 2 days before the closing day. Conduct a thorough examination of the property, check appliances and major systems should work properly. Verify that the seller didn't remove any fixture items that were identified as included in the agreement of purchase and sale. And check if seller has completed any agreed upon repairs, because during the time of inspection, if there were few things which you asked them to repair, you have to make sure those things are done. In case you find anything which is not as per the agreement of purchase and sale, or there's any damage to the property within those duration between you signed the offer and the closing time, you should always contact your lawyer right away and inform your realtor as well. And please ensure to put that in writing. Now, majority of the times as a buyer, we think if there is something, a minor damage, or they have taken up a light fixtures or a small appliances from there, we can stop the closing of the property. That is not the case. You still have to close the property and you can do the remedification later on. But again, your lawyer is the best person to advise you on that particular instance when you find something unusual in the property. So don't forget to take your legal advice at that point of time and inform your realtor as well. Now comes the closing day, the most excitement, that you are excited to get the keys in your hand and you are ready to take your family over there. Kids are excited to get settled down in your room. Your wife is planning to cook some good meal for you in that brand new kitchen. And you are inviting your friends for a housewarming party. On the day of closing, there are certain things which you have to keep in your mind. You have to provide your down payment, less the deposit to your lawyer, along with your closing cost. Most of the time, the closing happens during the day, but the buyer has a legal right to stay in the property until 6 p.m. on that particular day. You have to keep one thing in your mind. that on the day of closing, everything is the buyer's responsibility. Either it is the utilities or any other expense which you are incurring on the property. But you get the keys approximately 4 or 5 o'clock, and you have to wait until 6 o'clock. Be sure to bring a government issues IDs and copy of contract when signing at the lawyer's office. And lastly, close with confidence. You have to make sure you have made a biggest purchase of your life. You should feel happy and proud on yourself. Don't have any regrets. That's what I always say to the buyers. Many times, once you buy the property, you might feel you have bought it a little bit expensive, or there might be something better. It all happens. Nothing unusual. It happened with me and it will happen with you too. But once you make the decision, learn to respect your decision, I always say. Properties are never expensive. Property is expensive only until you bought it. The moment you bought it, it is always cheap because you have set up a new price in that neighborhood by buying the property on that particular price. But that doesn't mean that you should not do your due diligence when you are buying the house. Of course, every single dollar matters. But sometimes, because of certain reasons, let's say your brother lives on the same street and there's a house which just came next door to him, and you paid $10,000 extra because it was a multiple offer situation. Don't have any regret of that because you bought the property for a reason. Once you have the keys, it is your house. Always learn to enjoy it. And I would like to say congratulations to you at that point of time because you are now ready to move in the property. So guys, this was a little home buying process. There are certain topics in this process which can be discussed in details. I deliberately did not go too much detail in the mortgage process because that itself is a separate topic and we can definitely talk about it anytime. So I will just brief you about how the things goes, how the chart flows. Define your goals, plan your budget, get your pre-approval, prepare your wish list, hire a real estate agent, sign buyer representation, find your ideal home, submit an offer, get sold firm, pre-closing inspection, and the final D-Day, closing day for you. Thank you very much for your patient listening, and I'm ready now to answer your questions. As I said, if you find your question is not there in the list because this particular session is going on multiple channels, sometimes we miss the questions over there, you can send me a question on my phone number, which is 647-225-5780. 647-225-5780. And don't forget to follow me on my Facebook page, YouTube channel, or Instagram, The Real Raman D. There, I love to share a lot of videos with you. And of course, we will be talking to you about our new business model, which we'll be bringing soon. And let me get back to you guys face to face. So let's see if people have any questions for today as well. I can see some of them over here. Thank you, Ali Bin, for putting your remarks. Trying to provide as much information as I can, and I'm pretty sure it might be of some use to some of our viewers. Thank you, Ravi, for joining us. Thank you, Inderpalji, for giving me some feedback. Thank you, Mr. Modi, Niru, to all of you guys joining us today. So I have got a question here from Semi. Semi asks, I'm a first-time buyer. I have 5% down payment in my bank account. Do I still qualify for your mortgage? Semi, it's a very, very important information which most of the time people because of the lack of right guidance, they are not aware about it. I was discussing few days back with somebody, and they told me that on the radio actually, and I was asked this question: can we get the mortgage with 5%? There is no rule from CMHC or GE that you cannot get the mortgage on 5%, or you need minimum 20% down payment. Yes, if you qualify based on your income and other criterias like credit, there's nothing wrong. You can still qualify with 5% down payment. Of course, in that particular case, you have to pay CMHC, which is an insurance fees. Either it could be GE, but both charge you the same amount of fees. And as I said, based on your income, based on your credit, based on no gifted down payment, no borrowed down payment, you can qualify still with 5% down payment. Dharmesh Modi. Hi, Ramanji. Can we have topic on field training? Yes, Mr. Modi. Of course, I got your suggestion, and it is very, very important to have field training in real estate industry, and that is what I always keep emphasizing of the right mentorship. I actually call it as an active mentorship. Now we hear a lot about mentorship in the industry, but in real sense, it is not really effective. The simple reason behind that is that it is not an active mentorship. Whereas in SaveMax system, this is what we inculcated in the system, that there should be an active mentorship. Would you believe, with a team of 100 people, we have more than 20 mentors in SaveMax. And I always believe that you cannot coach more than 5 people at one point of time. So I ensure when any of my team leader have 5 people under him, he has to train one more person as a team lead, so that every single person can get full attention. Ravi, thank you for your question. I got another question from Vikas. Hello, Raman. Most of the time, and especially in COVID, people are not convinced that this is the right time. How to realize that this is the right time to buy? Vikas, I want to thank you for this question. Right time to buy. I always say whenever you can afford, that is the right time to buy. There are different situations which everybody have. Let's say if you want to buy a property to live, and you have a stable job, you have a down payment in your hand, and you qualify for the mortgage, that is the right time to buy. But when it comes to investment, then it's a little different story. At that point of time, you see, I will time the market right, either it is buying or selling. But I have a little bit different opinion on this as well. Even when you have to buy the house to live, it's a dual purpose. And the dual purpose is that you have to live in that property, and that is an investment for you too. So you also can time the market accordingly in both the cases. Either it is in buying to live or it is an investment. Now the question comes, is this the right time to buy? Based on the situation and circumstances today, I would strongly recommend you, this is really a right time to buy. 2 reasons. First of all, at this point of time, because of COVID-19, the market is very balanced. Of course, this situation is going to be to become better in another 2 to 3 weeks or maybe 4 weeks. Market is going to shoot up like anything. Again, this is my own personal judgment. Second important advantage what you are getting at this point of time is rate of interest is very low. 2 or 3 months before, rate of interest was almost 1.5 times more than what it is today. So 30% reduction on rate of interest is pretty good enough for you to motivate to buy a property. So this is a good time looking into the situation and circumstances. What is today? Future? Yes, we can guess, but nobody can predict what is going to happen. These are all fair judgments. I have a question from Mr. Enderpal. What role can SaveMax play as a disruptor during the COVID situation in reducing optimizing and bringing out efficiency in the transaction cost, particularly the real estate agent commissions. Indrapalji, I always respect you because your questions, your suggestions are very thoughtful, and you really have a great insight, not only about your own job, but about the real estate industry as well. I think it becomes not only over duty, but as a realtor fraternity, we all should come forward and make sure we, during this COVID 19, come up with some solutions, not only for buyers, but as well for sellers and for the investors to reduce their cost of buying and selling. At SaveMax in the Palji, all our realtors have been advised whenever you see any old age person, that is the first thing which they have been instructed. Any old age person who is a senior citizen and they call you to sell their property, make sure we have to be very reasonable in terms of charging them the commission. Or if there is any adverse circumstances where the person has to sell the property because they have lost their job or any other circumstances, I would say adverse circumstances, which is forcing them to sell their property. Not only during COVID 19, we are very thoughtful about our clients at that point of time as well, because this is not only gives us bread and butter, but I think this is our social responsibility that we have to serve the community through our business. And when a business person plan to provide best services to their clients at a reasonable and affordable price, that is a kind of charity as well. That is a kind of service, not only to the clients, but also to industry and to the profession. And I am more than happy to listen any suggestion or any recommendation from you or anybody else. If there's anything else which we can do to make it better for our clients, we'll be more than happy. Now, this was the part of the business. I will come on to the other aspect as well, which is sometimes fulfilling your social responsibility as an organization, as a business. I want to update you, SaveMax team, in collaboration with Workify, which is a strong tech partner. We have done a fundraiser to support William Osler and Trillium and some other food banks, and we have raised more than $50,000, out of which $20,000 has been given to Trillium Health Foundation. We are going to give $20,000 to William Osler and Mississauga Food Bank, and also we were conducting a food bank at one of our colleagues' garage as well. Beside that, wherever people need help and support in terms of masks or hand sanitizers or any other accessories like this, which they cannot afford, we are always there to take care of our community, take care of our society, and wherever we can contribute as in socially responsible organization, it will be our pleasure, and I think that becomes our duty as well, especially during this COVID-19 situation. Uh, I have another question, which is from Maria. So Maria says, I'm planning to sell my property and to upgrade to a bigger house, which is going to be a 4 bedroom. What would you recommend? Is this the right time to buy or sell? Thank you, Maria, for your question. And when it comes to buying and selling, so guys, I will repeat Maria's question because I was just reading it on my phone. So Maria asking me that she wants to sell her property, which is a little smaller house, and she wants to move to a 4 bedroom house. Is this the right time to buy or sell? Maria, I always say when you are buying and selling, every time is right time. The simple reason behind that is that you are buying in the same market and you are selling in the same market. But yes, even then you can be little smart on timing the market. Let's say today's situation. I will give you a real life example. I was talking to one of my clients who wanted to um, do some buying and selling. And that's the question they asked me. So I assessed their situation, and based on their situation, I recommended them that you should buy the property first. The simple reason behind that is today's market is really sitting a little bit low, little bit balanced, and the rate of interest are low as well. And they had no rush to sell the property. So I suggested them to take a little bit longer closing, say at least 3 to 4 months, so that that gives you enough time to sell the property as well. So, Maria, it all depends upon some individual situations as well, that what kind of situation you are in for selling and for buying. But of course, if we time the market right, you can make $30,000 to $40,000 difference in both buying and selling. And I always say we specialize in buying low and sell high. If your realtor specializes in that, it can be reasonably, I would say, $30,000 to $40,000 difference in both buying and selling, as compared to any realtor who doesn't understand timing the market right. So I hope I tried to answer your question. But in your particular case, if you want to discuss your situation, I would strongly recommend you that you give me a call, and I can take all the details from you to discuss your situation. So guys, I think there were enough questions. If by any chance you feel that your question has been missed, um, I would like to say thanks to Anuj Kora as well. I think Anuj has joined us from New Delhi. So there are a lot of people who are watching us from out of the country as well. Let me just make sure that we have answered all the questions. Uh, okay, so there are a few more questions here. One is from Nishan Sandhu. Nishan says, Raman, what do you think real estate is coming months will go down or no, as CMHC and other banks are predicting this will happen? What do you think people should go for, resale or builder purchase? Nishan, this debate I have done several times in last few weeks, and I can very well understand you are mentioning about CMHC report where they were predicting that market will go down by 18%. Um, I always try to explain this to people. Whenever we have to look at the real estate market, we don't look at the real estate market as a whole country. Prediction of real estate market is always regional. Your particular area, what exactly is the demographic, what is going to happen in GTA and surroundings. If I look at the whole country market, CMHC, whenever they predict, they look at as whole Canada. Let's first talk about GTA markets. I am predicting GTA real estate market from last 10 years. Market is always based on demand and supply, and then there are certain more factors which is like kind of demographic, purchasing power of people, how is the job status going around all across in that particular area, how reasonable it would be for us to say that GTA market and Alberta market has to be compared on the same parameter. I don't think so that is the right approach. Toronto markets and Calgary market are totally different. In Alberta, it is all oil based, and you can see what has been happening over there. So let's talk about GTA real estate market based on the situation what it is right now. If this COVID-19 start getting better, which it has already started getting better, if you see the number of cases are coming down, government is opening, Ontario government is opening the province step by step. Of course, Peel is a concern for them as it is a high risk area and the most famous destination for COVID-19. I think this virus loves South Asian people more. That is why it is being attracted to Peel region. If situation gets much better in coming 3 to 4 weeks, this market is going to shoot up like anything. I'm not saying any disrespect to CMHC prediction, but just to give you an idea, a week or 10 days before, there was prediction by most top economists in US and in Canada. In US, they predicted at least 2 to 3 million job losses. And actually, one of a very prominent economists predicted 7 million job losses in US. And same was in Canada. There was a prediction of almost 5 to 600,000 job losses in the month of May. But you know what happened? Even after their prediction, the job number has gone up, or it was not as much as they predicted. So sometime you have to ignore these predictions. You just have to look at your regional market, your particular area. And I'm an expert in GTA real estate market. I don't say I know everything, but somehow I'm predicting this real estate market from last 10 years. And 99.9% of the time, my predictions has been very right. So to answer your question, this is a good market to buy. And I will strongly recommend buyers to consider entering into the market at this point of time. If market shoots up, it will totally be out of control. And then you will not have the opportunity to buy the property. Now, your second question is, should we go for resale or builder purchase? Now, that is a very subjective question. It all depends upon your particular situation. And I'm more than happy to help you, to assist you, to make you understand why should you buy resale or why should you buy brand new house. But again, it all depends upon your individual situation. One shoe size doesn't fit all. So guys, I think thank you Deep Karan for joining. Thank you Shaukat for joining. Vishu Patel, Asim, thank you very much. Anshu, Aju. Okay, Aju has some other question or comment. Sales rep doesn't have to be on site for home inspection, right? Aju, again, there's no hard and fast rule into that, but I personally always recommend the buying agent to be there. Listing agent doesn't need to be there. Why I always say buying agent to be there? Because the buyer should be there as well, and they need to ask maybe few questions. But again, it is all individual choice. Sometimes people feel comfortable just by sending an inspector. But I personally love to go as a buyer representative or as a buyer's agent. I personally love to go at the time of inspection when my buyer is doing an inspection on the property. Thank you, Ninder, for encouraging message. I really appreciate that. Nishant Sandhu has also mentioned something. I would say instead of orally taking to them, they should have questions to let them read it clearly and then sign the agreement. The only problem I think is getting the paper signed is not having the portfolio page that tells what exactly they are signing so that they don't have to hesitate. Nishan, I think you are talking about the buyer representation, signing the buyer representation agreement. Yes, you are very right. We need to make sure that we explain the buyer representation agreement properly. We tell them what our obligations are as a realtor and what their rights are as the clients. But it is very unfortunate part, and I have seen that a lot in real estate industry. Many of the times, agent even doesn't know themselves what buyer representation agreement is. This is a little unfortunate part, but it happens in the industry. I personally never worked with any particular buyer without signing a buyer representation agreement, except for the few cases where buyer requested me to show some properties to gain a kind of confidence onto me. which I think is a very reasonable request, which you can make to your realtor before you sign the buyer representation agreement. But Nishan, if somebody said to me that they're not going to sign a buyer representation agreement and I should show them the property, I very respectfully decline to work. And this is what I teach every single realtor. I have mentored more than 200 realtors, out of which 90% of the realtors, they are very successful realtors in the industry. And that is how they have been trained. They make sure they discuss all the documentation in detail with their clients before they start showing them any property. Guys, real estate industry is very dominating industry in the economy of this country. So the more liberties we have as a realtor, I feel there's a lot of accountabilities which we have to fulfill towards not only our clients, but towards our profession as well. I always feel it becomes my duty as a realtor to make sure my profession feels proud on me. And that is what I always keep doing. I always proudly say, I have a very small team, but I have the best team in the industry, not only in Ontario, but all across the country. This is what brought us here on this level of success in last 10 years, where we launched this company from the basement of a house. And today we have built up a strong network of 16 franchises, little over 200 team of professionals, and sold more than 6,000 houses, close to $3 billion real estate transactions, which we have done. And that doesn't happen by chance. You have to work hard. You have to work with honesty and integrity towards your clients. And that is what makes you successful. Let me see if there is Mr. Espitin. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mamta, for watching. Nishan. Nishan said, thanks for answering my question, Raman. So my next question would be, when you invest in real estate, do the real estate agents guide their clients of upcoming city developments that would increase the purchase value of their house? I think they should have a reference plan from the city which would show concrete proof of upcoming developments. What do you think? Nishan, this is, I think, a normal part, a normal duty of our professionals, of our realtor friends, to ensure if they are working in that particular city, they have to keep themselves up to date with the latest development happening in the surrounding, in the neighborhood, because that really determines the value, that really determines how much appreciation you can get on your property. There are always ways to get that information. You can even go and check the city's plan. Most of the time, city, they come up with the 25-year plan for the development, and sometimes there are some long-term plans as well. That information is very relevant and very important when it comes to appreciation in real estate in any area. As a realtor, I think it becomes our duty. Thanks, Menenter, for watching. I would not be able to name everybody who is joining us today for this session. I think it's already 1:15. We should plan to say goodbye to each other. But before that, I would like to remind you all one more time that as SaveMax team, we have been called as a disruptor, as a game changer in the market, keeping ourselves up to date with that name. We are bringing a new model for the real estate industry. It is not something new for SaveMax, because we have implemented that system internally into our own realtors network. But now we are presenting that model in the market so that more and more people can be benefited. That new real estate model of the industry is based on three pillars. One is passive income. We give you an opportunity to earn six-figure income by not selling real estate. Whatever you are selling in real estate, you are making money in that, no problem. But we have created a passive income for our realtors. Second important aspect of it is everybody plans to have a good retirement life. So we have come up with an idea where we have created a retirement plan, a pension plan for you. So that is the second pillar of our new model. And the third pillar, the fact of life. The only real fact of life is death. We want to make sure we protect our people in case of that unfortunate situation when family gets into trouble because the earning member of the family unfortunately leaves them. And many times it happens, there is no protection plan. It is not something which we are offering you as an insurance, but I call that third pillar as an insurance plan. What does that mean is we have come up with an idea where we take care of your family even after somebody dies. So these are three strong pillars of our new business model. First, passive income. Second is pension plan or retirement plan. And third is life insurance. Want to know more about this? Don't hesitate to get in touch with any of the SaveMax team members, and they will be more than happy to share all the information about this new game changer, disruptor model of real estate industry. And guys, I promise you, this will change the way people think about real estate. Want to become part of our team? You're more than welcome. We have offices all across, not only in Ontario, but in Alberta as well. Very soon, we will be coming up with more information of other offices. Uh, I think there are few other question friends, but it's already 1:20. I would sincerely apologize to all of you. I have to catch another appointment at 1:30. I was planning to do this live until 1 p.m., but we have already exceeded 20 more minutes. But I promise you, I will answer all your questions by giving you a personal call. Please don't hesitate to put your phone number as well if you want your questions to be answered, or I will send you a text message through the social media wherever you ask those questions. So I was talking about this new game changer or disruptor model of the real estate industry. If you want to get more information, don't hesitate to get in touch with SaveMax team leaders or franchise owners or any of SaveMax team members. Next week, I will be bringing up another informative session where we will talk about more knowledge, more concept of the real estate industry. Till then, thank you very much for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, The Real Raman D. Don't send the friend requests anymore because I have already exceeded my limit of 5,000 people. I won't be able to accept your request, but you can go and like my page, which is by the name of Rise with Raman, and my YouTube channel as well. I will be bringing up a lot of more information through my YouTube channel. Enjoy your weekend, stay safe, maintain physical distancing. The government of Ontario has relaxed rules a little bit, and you are good to go with at least 10 people in your friend circle. You can hug them, but still refrain from physical touch to each other, maintain physical distancing. And I wish and pray that we all get rid of this COVID-19 very soon so that we can live our normal life. Thank you very much for joining today. Wish you good luck. Stay safe. Enjoy your weekend with your family. And don't forget to like my page on social media on Facebook, Rise with Raman, and subscribe my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, friends.